It's a frigid evening on the campus of Hofstra University. From Shutout Stadium, today Verizon Fios One Sports brings you the Nassau County Playoffs. It's a Nassau Conference 2 football championship featuring the two-time defending county champion Garden City Trojans, unbeaten at 10-0, taking on their longtime rivals, the Carey Seahawks, entering at 8-2. Here's a look at the Conference 2 bracket. Garden City took care of Calhoun in their semifinal, while Carey needed a big second half to take care of MacArthur, 13-7 to reach today's game. And with that, we welcome you here again to Shutout Stadium alongside Rich Donovan. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. Garden City is in the midst of a historic run. They're not just two-time county champs, they're also two-time Long Island Class 2 champions. They enter this game with a remarkable 34-game winning streak, the longest in their great program's history. But the one time this year they were pushed into the second half was by this Carey Seahawks team on Week 4.
Ralph, football is a game of inches, and in our Week 4 broadcast of this matchup, the plays went Garden City's way. But it was a confidence builder for Carey. Mike Stanley feels they played their best football moving forward after that game. This should be an interesting matchup this evening.
And Carey is led by a terrific linebacker and fullback, their emotional leader, Devin Hartz.
At fullback, he is a factor in terms of his blocking and inside power running, but defensively, Ralph, he dominates. 13 tackles, 3.5 for losses, and 2 sacks in last week's big defensive effort against MacArthur.
And for Garden City, they have one of the most explosive players Long Island has seen in a decade, Trevor Yaboa-Cody. His numbers may be down a touch from last year, but that's because he's played so little in the second halves. He is a serious home run threat.
He brings the wow factor to every game, a threat to go coast to coast every time he touches the ball. 6 carries for 172 yards last week, including 86 and 48-yard touchdown runs, plus a 19-yard touchdown reception. He is the key player that Carey will need to stop.
The Seahawks, can they end the Trojans' reign today? Garden City looking to make it back to a 3rd straight Long Island championship. We're back with the Nassau Conference 2 final next on Verizon Fios One Sports. Here we go with the Nassau County Conference 2 final. The top 2 seeds and two-time defending champion Garden City, the undefeated Trojans, taking on the Carey Seahawks from Hofstra. On a frigid evening, we introduce our 2 coaches. Here's Mike Stanley. This is his 12th season as the head coach, 13th in the program, 2013 Nassau Coach of the Year as the Seahawks went back-to-back out of Baldwin High School, where he was a wide receiver during his college days at Stony Brook. And it's a homecoming, as always, for Dave Ettinger in his 4th season coaching the Trojans. He played his college football right here at Hofstra, where he was a standout kicker, the 2016 Nassau County Coach of the Year. Ahead of this matchup, Rich, let's have a look at your Verizon Fios One Sports keys to the game.
For the Seahawks, the next play mentality. Garden City's won 34 in a row. Some plays will not go their way. And swarm on team defense, gang tackling. For the Trojans, versatile offense. They have 3 big-time offensive players, and they must control the neutral zone. A young offensive line has matured as the season progressed.
The Carey Seahawks won the toss and have deferred to the second half. Carey in the white-on-white, and the dangerous Trevor Yaboa-Cody is the deep man for Garden City. We're underway in the Conference 2 final. And Yaboa-Cody will get a run back from his own 12. As he finds a window to run through, he'll get it near the 30-yard line, and where this Garden City offense will get started tonight. And the Trojans offensively, 38 points per game, led by a 3-year starting quarterback, Colin Hart. 14 passing touchdowns, 7 on the ground, a verbal commitment to Brown for lacrosse. He has improved his passing this season, as you see his quality numbers this year in passing percentage, and his line has started to come together with Kephart, Holloway, McGovern, Gunn, and Christian Sullivan. Yaboa-Cody with Danny Bacafola, Joe Scatarigia, James Cashwell, Justin Capola. And they will use those skill players in a wide variety of ways, as here they come out in a tight bunched formation. From their own 29 on a frigid evening with the temperatures in the mid-40s. Yaboa-Cody. And Carey immediately gets on him. Guess who? It's Devin Hartz, part of this 4-4 defense for the Carey Seahawks this season that's allowing just 14.3 points per game. Mejia and Scarpanito, great seasons at defensive end with Blanc and Milione, stout defensive tackles. Hart and DiNicola, the inside backers with Todaro and Spano outside. Murray and Nick Bell, the corners. Nick Giacalone, the free safety. And as Mike Stanley told us, they got some confidence in that Week 4 game, the way they were able to tackle Garden City. And this is Coppola. And Justin Coppola off the right side. DiNicola gets on him, and it'll be 3rd down and about 5.
A missed tackle in the backfield would have resulted in a loss, but the opening 2 plays very encouraging for the Seahawks. And Mike Stanley mentioned Todaro and DiNicola as we see the good cut-up field, but Carey pursuing Garden City's offensive lineman trying to get downfield on our replay.
And Mike Stanley of Carey saying we took a lot of confidence from that Week 4 loss, able to push Garden City into the 3rd quarter of that game. The Trojans, they haven't had many close ones in 3 years. Hart out of the shotgun for the first time on a 3rd and 4. And Hart on the rollout, throws short underneath. He has Danny Bacafola, and the catch is made at the 40, just enough for the 1st down.
We see the poise of Colin Hart, a little stutter step, and then running out of time and room, delivers a perfect pass right to the sideline, and it moves the chains. And even though it's very early, Ralph, from a confidence point of view, when you're playing a team like Garden City and you need to play perfect and hope they don't play perfect, stopping them on that first drive 3 and out would have been a plus.
Now Coppola, the motion man, as he cuts it back inside, and then Coppola dives forward into the pool to the 50-yard line. He'll be spotted just shy of a 1st down and to midfield, where Carey makes the stop. And the variety of weapons that Dave Ettinger has mentioned, that for Trevor Yeboah-Cody, he's not going to have the same kind of numbers that he had last year, where he obliterated the Garden City rushing totals, and that's been reflected because of the emergence of Coppola and then the lack of games that they've had in second halves.
Justin Coppola, 5'6", 160, but he plays big.
Hart keeping it, and Hart is dropped for a loss for the first time on 2nd and 1. So Carey's able to get on him in the backfield. And with the hit being made by this Carey defense, and from that Week 4 game, it seemed like with each passing play, Carey seemed to gain confidence, and Mike Stanley reflected that was our turning point game for this team that is still very junior-laden for the Seahawks.
Another important 3rd and short early in the game.
Call it 3rd and 2. Hart looking to roll out and keep it. Hart, and he is going to be short. He needed to get to exactly midfield, and he's about a yard shy there, setting up a 4th down early decision in this county final.
A straight quarterback sweep, power formation, so there are 3 blockers, and the backs able to start to turn upfield, but Colin Hart with not enough room to go. And decision time, as you noted, Ralph, for Dave Ettinger. And for Carey right here, an opportunity to get a stop and go on offense in Garden City territory. Power eye backfield for the Trojans.
Call it 4th and 2. The Seahawks looking for an instant momentum changer. Yeboah-Cody burrows his way through, falls forward to pick up the 1st down. Good push there from Garden City, as Yeboah-Cody coming in with 17 rushing touchdowns.
We see on our replay the good push on the initial blocking, and credit the football IQ of Trevor Yeboah-Cody, knowing exactly where he needed to get to move the chains. And now the Trojans are in Carey territory. But Carey, Ralph, this first defensive series, they've looked very good. We talked about the swarming tackling was a must. And they are jamming the line of scrimmage.
A blitz coming up the middle. Yeboah-Cody able to get to the outside. And Yeboah-Cody turning the corner, still on his feet, but they'll say he stepped out of bounds just by a hair. We'll see where they mark him out. It was very close as he accelerated around the Carey 30.
The Seahawks have to box outside in. They cannot allow Coppola and Yeboah-Cody to get wide. And again, if you miss that tackle in the backfield, you provide this opportunity. and just barely, but the correct call, and it comes back to the 33-yard line. And so clearly 4-down territory now for Garden City.
He scraped that sideline if he did at all. And a great look at that from our crew. So he stopped at the 33, but it is a first down for Garden City on the opening possession of this county final.
One smaller shoe size, he would have stayed in bounds.
It's Bacafola underneath with a blocker in front. Danny Bacafola inside the 10. It'll be first and goal for Garden City.
The flare pass running the back out of the backfield. Colin Hart very poised with plenty of time. The play action fake freezes the linebacker, and you go underneath the coverage, able to catch it with time and space. Good cutback. And what started out where Carey was able to push those third and short situations, Garden City is rolling.
29-yard pickup for Bacafola, who missed that Week 4 game due to a sprained ankle. It is Yeboah Cody taking the direct snap, untouched for the touchdown. A 4-yard walk-in, and Garden City with an impressive opening drive in the Conference 2 final.
Goal line offense. The Trojans go with the Wildcat. The direct snap to Yeboah Cody. You can see the lineman getting wide. Capola number 22, and he doesn't need an escort on that play. He's literally able to tiptoe into the end zone untouched, and the Trojans are on the board.
In that Week 4 game, Carey was able to limit Yeboah Cody 13 for 92 as Chase Gardy connects on the point after, but they gave up a big touchdown run that was a backbreaker. Here he nearly broke it, turning the corner. He had stepped out of bounds. This one, a no-doubter, 7-0 Trojans. 7-0 Garden City, scoring on their opening drive with a 4-yard touchdown run from Trevor Yeboah Cody, who's going to be in the conversation for the Long Island Player of the Year. Now the Carey Seahawks. Short kick taken at the 25-yard line. And this is Devin Hart, who handles one of the up men as he will force his way forward near the 40, where Carey offense will get going to work. As we take a look at the scoring drive, 10 plays, 71 yards, a couple of connections to Danny Bacafola as Yeboah Cody finishes it off.
One of our keys was versatile offense. We see on the replay Colin Hart rolling out with a little flood pass. 29-yard run sets up, first and goal from the 5. Look at number 55, Christian Sullivan, at 6'4", 225, an offensive lineman, able to get wide and pull, and an easy score for Garden City. Ralph, favorable field position here for Carey. Let's see if they can take advantage of it.
They begin it with a handoff to Riley DeMeo, senior wide receiver. And his forward progress will give him perhaps a yard. The quarterback for Carey is in his first season as a starter, Jason Kessler, but he has shown that he is the next excellent trigger man of this Carey offense. 58% completions, nearly 1,600 yards, 18 passing touchdowns, just 5 interceptions, and he's got a big arm, varsity baseball pitcher. And he comes off of a nice performance a couple games ago in the quarterfinals, 8 of 13 against Manhasset.
He's averaging 19 pass attempts per game, so look for Carey to throw it.
He goes to the bench, and Carey shows some wildcat with Patrick McGrath, senior slot receiver, as we take a look at the rest of the starters for Carey. And Vin Milione has been their anchor, 2-year starter at the left tackle, with Devaney, Capriati, Humrick, and Joe Tribble, all first-year starters there on the right side of the line. Then Dean Nicola is just a sophomore coming into his own with Daniel Stein, Nick Giacalone, Patrick McGrath, Riley DeMeo in a typical one-back, four-receiver look. We'll see a lot of James Stein. There are twin junior wide receivers on this Carey team.
Mike Stanley audibling a play from the sideline based on Garden City's defensive scheme, and adjustments constantly being made on both sidelines.
Kessler, who is still on the sideline, they look to go wildcat there, and delay of game is called against Carey trying to get the play in.
You run the risk of the delay of game penalty when you're trying to make the adjustment, and this becomes a challenging play call now, as you're looking at 3rd and 12, and the Seahawks have to take care of the ball here. a team that likes to throw it and throws it very well. There's not a lot of wind here tonight, Ralph, but it is very frigid temperatures.
Jason Kessler now back on the field. And Kessler trying to hear Mike Stanley's signal. There is no obvious play clock here in the stadium, but they better hurry. So Kessler able to get the snap off with a good pocket, looking long. He's looking to the outside, and he's got his man. The catch is made. No, it came out. It's incomplete. Great toss for James Stein. As he came down with it, it was jarred free. It'll be 4th down.
We talked about their ability to throw deep, and this is a strike, turn, and an excellent job getting a hand in at the last minute by Ford Carney, number 12, to dislodge the ball. But it stretches the field, Ralph, and demonstrates you have the ability to go vertical.
Missed opportunity for Carey. And in comes Patrick McGrath now to be the punter. And Yeboah Cody, a very dangerous punt return man, had 2 punt return touchdowns in the game this season. And he calls for a fair catch as he goes down to a knee at his own 35. Well, for the Trojans, 34 straight wins, setting a new program record this season. They're already the back-to-back Long Island Class 2 champions. That's the first time they've done that, along with a pair of Rutgers Cups and a remarkable number of 37 points per game. They've barely had to win that one game where you get nervous about the streak in the 3rd or 4th quarter. It has been such an overwhelming streak, too, during that time, outscoring teams nearly 35-7.
Started with Warren King and then Tom Flatley, a proud tradition at Garden City. They've established a level of excellence in Nassau County Conference 2 football, and they play with confidence. It's well-deserved. Again, the double tight end power eye backfield.
Hart under center. The toss to Yeboah Cody. And Yeboah Cody reverses direction, and he's going to make a big play out of this and pick up a 1st down. And Yeboah Cody had all kinds of interest. He had to make a big decision last summer between football and lacrosse. He had a lot of Ivy League interest in football. Programs like Rutgers and Boston College were interested because of this, eventually setting on Brown for lacrosse.
On our replay, we see why he's such a special player. What looked like a 4 or 5 yard loss, able to reverse field. Colin Hart, number 14, throwing a good block to get him to go the other way. But a very deceptive stride. Great speed and field vision.
Added a little bit more weight, gotten stronger. Now 6'1", 185 in his senior year. Coppola able to bounce it to the outside and pick up another Garden City 1st down.
The Trojans again go to the wide side of the field, this time by design, and Coppola with excellent speed, and that's the advantage of what we call the jet speed, where you're catching the ball in full stride and positive yardage, another 1st down.
And it was Coppola in that regular season game that may have had the biggest plays that hurt Carey, where he had a 63-yard touchdown and had a touchdown on the ground. One in the air, one on the ground in the 2nd half. Direct snap, Yeboah Cody. And this time he's forced back again. Now having to run a long way, looking for the kick out, and he's not going to get back to the line of scrimmage. Good job chasing him down from behind, Devin Hartz.
Devin Hartz is playing the entire width of the field. He is a tenacious linebacker. And again, the early penetration by Carey. And Yeboah Cody, it worked the last time, so why not try it again? But this time, Carey able to get more bodies and better angles of pursuit, results in the loss.
Some help from sophomore outside linebacker Joe Todaro. But Devin Hartz, an animal in the weight room, a wrestler, someone that loves football, describes Mike Stanley. He is always watching film. Hart on the rollout. And this time asking Bacafolo from a block. And on 2nd and 17, and Hart will make it a 3rd down and manageable, bumped out just inside the Carey 40.
The ability to go wide is dictated by the skill set of your offensive linemen. And Garden City has demonstrated the agility, the quickness, and the foot speed to set up those blocks and to get outside. And in space, Coppola, Hart, and Yeboah Cody are extremely dangerous.
A 3rd and 9 for Garden City. Hart has already connected on 2 big plays in the passing game to Bacafola.
Carey jamming the line of scrimmage again, very tight coverage.
He'll roll left. Hart over the middle downfield, and Jack alone will break up the pass. Looking to hit Joe Scatterigia. It'll be 4th down.
Similar to the play that Ford Carney made for Garden City. You see, and as we see in the replay, Hart rolling to his left, Ralph. It's difficult when you're throwing across your body. You can't get your front lower hip into the throw. And a catchable ball, but excellent defense by Jack alone. And now Garden City in a different situation, Ralph. We saw them convert 4th and short, but this is a different deal with the 4th and 9 call.
Garden City converted the 4th down during their opening possession. This time, Hart with an empty backfield is flushed. Colin Hart trying to get to the wide side is going to pick up the 1st down. And again, back to that week 4 meeting where Hart was a dual threat. He even caught a pass at a key juncture that ended up allowing Garden City to pull away in that one.
Designed quarterback draw, and look at him read the stalk block. Excellent job by the Garden City wideouts. And we frequently note, Ralph, the ability to catch the ball as a wideout is important, but you do more stalk blocking in high school, blocking downfield. And a combination of effective angles on the block and Hart reading it to go inside out.
And Hart puts Garden City over 100 yards in this opening quarter. And they have a 1st and 10 from the Carey 21. Hart this time flips the pass outside. Yeboah Cody breaking a tackle will pick up the 1st down, setting up another 1st and goal.
We noted in the pregame you need to play a perfect game to defeat the Trojans. And here we see a missed tackle. Yeboah Cody with the quick out pattern, get your head across, but he has such powerful lower body strength and leg drive. He's able to secure the catch and set up a 1st and goal situation.
Outside linebacker Mark Spano had the chance. 1st year starting outside linebacker for Carey. That's had a great year. This one at the 8. Yeboah Cody now lined up as a receiver left. It is Coppola on the jet sweep and a cut back inside before he is dropped just as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Andre Blanc at 6'1", 240. It's number 67 in the midst of an all-county caliber season as a defensive tackle. Coaches have said he might be the best defensive tackle in this conference, constantly being double-teamed, and he comes off of 9 tackles against MacArthur in the semifinal.
Coppola showing the ability on the jet sweep to turn it up early. Garden City again with the double tight end, power eye backfield.
Hart will fake the toss, naked bootleg. Has a blocker in front. Colin Hart untouched. Touchdown, Garden City. This one from 6 yards out, and the Trojans have gotten the start they hoped for. It's 13-0 in the opening quarter.
Athleticism at quarterback is a key ingredient for a successful program. We look at the play fake, and for the outside defender, you have to box outside in. Again, we see an example of stalk blocking that time for Garden City number 10, Holden Overbeck, and the Trojans are on the board.
Chase Gardy, his grandfather Joe was the head coach right here at Hofstra. And the PAT is no good to the right. And that's about the only mistake that Garden City has made in this opening quarter. This time it's Colin Hart. Garden City able to convert a 4th down again. And they've got the 13-0 lead late in the 1st in this Conference 2 final. (13-0) Garden City, the top seed, winners of 34 straight games dating back to the 2015 Conference 2 semifinals. Ralph Bednarczyk with Rich Donovan with you here from Hofstra, and for Mike Stanley's Carey team, they've been the one program in the last decade, Rich, that's been able to defeat Garden City, and even times that they've faced them, given them a good battle, This year they had a really good battle against MacArthur, trailing 7-0. They got 2 Anthony DiNicola touchdown runs in the second half just to get here.
Back-to-back championships for Carey in this decade, spearheaded by multi-sport athletes, and they had a tremendous run. And with Wantor moving based on low enrollment into Conference 3, it's turned this into a power conference with Garden City, Carey, also MacArthur, Calhoun showing improvement, Elmont, Mepham. So the tier chasing Garden City is strong, and those teams are on an equal footing. But the Trojans have demonstrated the ability to distance themselves from the competition.
And they have set the bar very high, but particularly this group that's done unprecedented things in a great program, win 34 consecutive games.
We saw on that last sequence, Ralph, where Carey's trying to make plays, but you become a little over-anxious. You know you have to make the perfect play.
And they start here on 1st and 10 from their own 25 with the run. And trying to go to the outside is Rich Mejia, who will play some tight end, some H-back, 6'1", 195 senior. And there is a flag down as Mejia appeared shaken up.
We see the intensity from Mike Stanley and assistant coach Tom Aiello, who does a great job with the Carey lacrosse program.
Referee today, Bob Miller.
It's important to note, Ralph, that because Garden City has 3 tremendous, versatile offensive players, that the play action, the misdirection, the bootleg, those become even more effective when you can rely on one of 3 players.
Holding is the call against Carey to back him up. Here's the Trojans defense that's allowed just an average of 7 points per game this year. Bacafola and Sullivan on the outside with Damaris, Maxicatello, and Haas, all first-year starters. Griffith taking over as a linebacker with Billy Kephart. Ryan Bice, a great year with interceptions in the secondary with Scatterigia, Yeboah Cody, and Coppola. Yeboah Cody playing a lot more safety this season after being a shutdown corner last year for Dave Ettinger. And this backs up Carey now down to their own 16-yard line. And a 1st and 19.
The desire to make a big play cannot result in a turnover here. Carey going with trips to the top of the screen and split to the bottom of the screen. A passing offense.
They're going to adjust the clock here as we look at Jason Kessler. Went 6 of 12 with a touchdown passing at Garden City in week 4. But they've shown great confidence in him. He went 18 of 29 for a career-high 252 yards and 3 touchdowns against Mepham in a week 8 win.
Garden City in a cover 2 with 2 deep safeties in the middle of the field. And they'll play man coverage on the wideouts with help over the top.
Kessler hasn't done a lot of running this season as he'll take it forward. He's eventually cut down by Coppola, and he'll get some of the penalty yardage back. As Trojans defense and all the lopsided scores they put up, and as we showed you the graphic, just 7 points and change allowed during the winning streak. Many of those points have been scored when the game is well out of range. First halves, their disparity is even greater. A defense that's pitched 3 shutouts. Kessler on 2nd down throws the slant, and it's on target. The completion to the outside, and this will set up a 3rd down and more manageable. Good catch made on the outside by Daniel Stein.
We see on our replay Kessler with plenty of time, the good slant route. But Ralph, despite the 2 positive offensive plays, penalties really set you back. It's a 3rd and 6 in a situation where the Seahawks need to move the chains and keep the high-powered Garden City offense off the field. Kessler, ability to make a big play, very important here. Devin Hartz as the up back, number 32.
They play fake there. They look for a big hit down the middle, and the pass out of the reach of Jack alone. He was open. He had his man beat, and it'll be 4th down.
They've gone vertical twice, and both times, Ralph, it was there. But for Carey, another punting situation. You see the play fake, good pass protection, and the ball sails a little bit, but Jackalone has excellent speed, and look for them to go back to that. They've gone deep twice.
Patrick McGrath got a good punt with no return his first time. As we said, very little wind tonight. If there is any, it would be just a touch at his back.
Garden City showing punt return, excellent punt.
Another fair catch. How often do you see that in high school football on the island? As Coppola brings it down, McGrath has not allowed a return. But Garden City takes over here in the final minute of this opening quarter. And as we spoke about Colin Hart and his emergence and how versatile he has become, he worked with James Brady this last offseason, St. Anthony's class of 2008 that was a quarterback at New Hampshire and Georgetown. He tutors a lot of high school quarterbacks, and Hart came back a lot more refined this year. Lacrosse being his primary sport, but as we've seen, he could throw it up to 59% completions this year. And today, Hart has been devastating as a runner, and similar to that regular season meeting. This time, Yeboah Cody, direct snap. And Yeboah Cody finds a seam. Yeboah Cody now surging ahead, turning the corner. He's going to take it the distance, 62 yards. And Garden City is 3 for 3 on possessions in the opening quarter of the county final.
This play illustrates the versatility of the Garden City offense. Colin Hart with 33 yards in the first quarter, but they go with the Wildcat look, and Yeboah Cody with the jab step and then finds a seam, combines his field vision with the acceleration to race the sideline for the big-time run.
Yeboah Cody with a pair of rushing touchdowns in this opening quarter, and the thing Carey was able to do in the regular season meeting was contain him. They have not been able to do that yet. Chase Gardy adds the point after. It's 20-0.
Ralph, the offensive line play of Garden City to this point, they've won the battles up front, the individual one-on-one battles, and the ability to use the entire field as we see Carey in pursuit but unable to make a play.
Garden City has looked like another championship team, 20-0. 3 for 3 on possessions, 3 untouched touchdowns as they kick off up the middle. Riley DeMeo on the return before he's knocked down at his own 25. And Trevor Yeboah Cody, he was a known entity after a super junior season last year, being a finalist for the Thorpe Award, which is the Nassau County Player of the Year. And as expected, everybody was targeting him to contain him, but the numbers not as great this season because of the balance they've had around him, but we suspect today he might be a 4-quarter player.
The ultimate compliment for a star player is he makes the other players around him better. Colin Hart and Justin Coppola have certainly benefited from his presence. He has to be the #1 priority on opposing team scouting reports, and we've certainly seen that tonight.
Again, to start in the Wildcat as McGrath is able to fall forward at a pickup of about 5 on first down for Carey. And on Yeboah Cody, he makes everything go. Last year he had 26 combined touchdowns. So this year not as many, but he had a 5-touchdown game against Belmore Kennedy in the first half. He's going to go down in terms of statistics as perhaps the best running back in Garden City history. That's the end of the first quarter. Garden City, winners of 34 in a row, and they have looked every good as bit of those numbers. Second quarter coming up. You're watching the 2018 Nassau County Conference 2 Championship game on Verizon Fios One Sports. 20-0 Garden City, 2-time defending Long Island and county champions here in Nassau over the Carey Seahawks as we get started with this second quarter of play on 2nd and 6. And they keep it on the ground with D. Nicola. Sophomore running back picking up about 4, setting up 3rd down and short.
Carey head coach Mike Stanley noted in the pregame that his younger players have stepped up, they've progressed. He feels that Carey has improved, and it's difficult to demonstrate that when you're playing against Garden City, but Carey is well coached, they have the right scheme. It's just Garden City forces you to defend the entire width of the field. You have to be perfect tackling them in open space.
Jackal on the motion man and gets it on the jet sweep. With Nicola the block, and Yeboah Coney with a big hit. And on 3rd and 4, forward progress is a pretty good spot for Jackalone. It's about he's maybe a foot or 2 short. This will be close. And a decision to make for Carey coach Mike Stanley.
Mike Stanley frustrated with the spot. And this is an excellent cut up field, but we see the collision. And now this is just a big push. Who can win the pile driving right there? So if you're Carey, you're down 20-0, Ralph. You're looking at 4th and less than a yard.
McGrath is also the slot man and punter. He is still out there, but looks like Mike Stanley is going to go for it. It's about a half yard at their own 36-yard line.
Challenge your offensive linemen. You could go with a hard count, try to draw the Trojans offside. They do not go into center. They're still in the short shotgun snap.
4th and 1, McGrath to try to get to the outside. He's slammed down. Yeboah Coney. Garden City takes over.
Carey chooses to go with the straight quarterback run. When you're out of the shotgun, Ralph, you're deep behind the line of scrimmage, and you have to accelerate to get up forward. And a good seal block, but Yeboah Coney, similar to the way he plays on offense, finding a seam to run through when he has the ball. That time shoots the gap and makes the play, puts the Trojans on offense.
Defensively, Yeboah Coney has been used primarily as a safety to free him up a bit. Last year, Dave Ettinger had him as a lockdown corner, and they move him around a bit. And he has had interceptions for touchdowns in his career. Just a phenomenal player on both sides of the ball, not just a running back. Dave Ettinger said last year he's got the best ball skills he's seen in a defensive back. So a short field for Garden City from the Carey 34. Hart on the rollout. Hart underneath, and he's on time with the pass. And crossing the middle of the field, he's able to complete it, and that'll be close to a 1st down as he's able to hit Liam Griffith, the tight end, in stride.
In my view, the tight end drag, the most effective passing play. We see the secure the catch. Excellent job by Frank LaSquadron, our production crew. And when you look at Garden City, again, Ralph, the ability for Colin Hart to bootleg. Carey took away the back in the flat that they've run successfully, but the tight end drag was open.
From the 22, double handoff. Bacafola was looking to throw to Hart, and now Bacafola will tuck it and go, and Spano will bring him down. Hart went out into the backfield. Dave Ettinger has just 1 loss in his career, that 2015 county semifinal to Wantagh on a play and a deep pass in the 4th quarter of that game. But he played his college football right here at Hofstra. Phenomenal kicker, and someone that's also been razor sharp in special teams. And he learned going back to the middle school days for Hall of Fame coach Tom Flatley coming up before taking the job 4 seasons ago.
Garden City also benefiting from assistant coaches Steve Fennell, Ray Chaputian, Ryan Bolson, Don Makovsky, and the middle school program. When you have a tradition of excellence and the players are brought up within that system, and Dave Ettinger can appreciate that, having started his career at Garden City in the middle school.
And that was Coppola that took it. He became an assistant back in 2005. And Ettinger didn't have football under his belt until more recently. He graduated from Colmac in '93 and only picked up kicking during his senior year at Colmac, and eventually had a chance and a cup of coffee for NFL scouting combines.
Great to see his predecessor, Tom Flatley, in the pregame, and Tom's earned it. He's up in the press box where it's nice and warm, but what an outstanding career. And Tom always prided himself as a defensive coach, and that's how Garden City has started this tradition.
So as Garden City uses its first timeout, they took over after a 4th down stop of Carey. And Colin Hart so far has been elusive on 3rd and 4th downs in this first half. With Bacafola, the motion man. Hart with a couple of blockers in front with a lot of room to the left side. Hart is going to pick up the 1st down before he's bumped out of bounds.
A quarterback draw by design, but a delay, and he's able to bounce, similar to with the running back on an off-tackle play, able to bounce wide. I really believe the ability of Garden City's offensive linemen and wide receivers to stay on their blocks creates this open space, and the Garden City skill players have the talent to exploit it. But it's a long time to be holding your block. But they've been successful as we go Wildcat again with Yeboah Cody.
So Hart now lined up as a receiver. He has caught a pass this year. And Yeboah Cody, beware, he has completed 2 passes. He takes the toss with a flag down. And he'll take it to the 5, and we'll check on the penalty. Maybe the first on the Trojans today.
Strong defensive effort by Carey. The ability to string the play out and force number 24, Yeboah Cody, to go east-west. Could never turn upfield, and usually this indicates a holding call. And Bob Miller and his crew, and we frequently talk about the playoffs bring out the best teams and also the best officiating crews, consistently ranked in the top 5 in Nassau County. This is a spot foul in high school from where the hold occurred.
So it's a big loss, a 1st and goal out to the 20. However, Hart still remains as the wide receiver in this setup.
It's a fun playbook for an offensive coordinator with number 24 in the Wildcat.
This time he'll hand it off. Scatterigia making Jackalone miss. And Joe Scatterigia trying to turn the corner, could not. He's eventually stopped by Carey just as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Good finish by the corner, junior Connor Murray. And it'll be 2nd and goal.
We talked about the misdirection, the play action. We have the best cameramen anywhere, and they were fooled on the initial fake. Yeboah Cody with the fake. He runs opposite. And another example, Ralph, where Carey with an excellent play, you have to key number 24 no matter where he is on the field. So you are anticipating he's going to carry it on what would be the equivalent of a bootleg.
Hart back at quarterback. A 2nd and goal from the 19. This time, here comes the blitz, and he has to get rid of it. They tried to set up the screen for Justin Coppola, and it'll be 3rd and goal.
All-out blitz by the Seahawks. Excellent call by Mike Stanley. Bring some pressure. Let's try to make something happen. Get the ball to the ground. And a wise choice here. Number 14, Colin Hart, with the play fake, and he realizes he's in trouble off his back foot. Just throw it when nobody can catch it, and we'll reset on 3rd and goal. And now we see Garden City's skill players entering the game. This is certainly a down and distance call. For Carey, keep everything in front of you. The Trojans have 2 plays to go 19 yards. Full house backfield. As Hart goes under center.
The toss to Yeboah Cody. On the cutback, and now looks to reverse field and has a lot of room. Hart is in front as the lead blocker. Yeboah Cody nearly turned the corner. Almost looked like it was a design reversal of field. He's out at the 10, 4th and goal from that spot.
There has to be a frustration level. You play this perfectly, you jam it, angles of pursuit, but the ability to go deep, he has the catch-up speed, Ralph, so he really swings it very deep to avoid the penetration and got half of it, setting up 4th and goal. Perhaps the field goal try for the Trojans.
Junior Chase Gardy has hit 3 field goals this season, including a 40-yarder. this will be from 27 yards out from the left hash. Carey out of the hold of Gavin Paskowitz. And it's a line drive through. Garden City eventually capitalizes on the short field and the 4th down stop. It's all Trojans in the opening half of the Nassau Conference 2 final. 23-0 Garden City on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. Garden City able to add the field goal from Chase Carey from 27 yards out. And they lead this one convincingly in the first half. They've had 4 possessions, 4 scores. Riley DeMeo on the pickup. And DeMeo trying to get to the outside. He'll cross the 30. And that's where Carey will begin. A frustrating start for the Seahawks. They've had a couple of looks deep that they were not able to connect as they come out here, but Mike Stanley has talked about we've had a lot more players emerge this year offensively over the course of the year. He's using as many as 8 to 9 skill players around Jason Kessler since the start of the season that make them be multidimensional, and maybe more so, Rich, in the semifinal with Anthony DiNicola, his sophomore running back, growing up.
In my view, Carey has to use quick hitters both in the running game and the passing game. Garden City is very athletic, playing wide. Chase Carey's best kick of the evening, and it may not seem significant in a 23-0 game, but if the score holds up and they advance to play the winner of the West Islip-Lindenhurst game in the Long Island Championship, having a field goal kicker changes your play calling, and when you get stalled in the red zone is a huge advantage as a weapon.
DiNicola tripped up by Christian Sullivan after picking up about 2 on the play. And Garden City has always had a great tradition recently of strong kickers, with Billy Rozakis, Ryan Norton, who eventually went on to be a kicker at Syracuse, and Chase Carey, the next one. Flag down as trying to get to the outside. And the flag was out very early there as Mejia carried. It's a short pickup, and we'll see what Bob Miller tells us.
Good job by the Trojan defense of stringing the play out. Bob Miller conferencing with his side judge and umpire.
So it appears to be against Carey, and this is going to set them back again. Pre-snap false start, and it'll be declined. So Dave Ettinger choosing to take the down rather than the distance.
Hurry up offense for Carey.
And Carey was ready. They'll take the 2-yard pickup. Bob Mejia setting up a 3rd and 6.
Any penalty, and Bob Miller explaining to the coach whether you want to accept or decline the penalty. And they took, as you noted, Ralph, the play and the down.
And timeout, Mike Stanley. We saw that on the second drive. Kessler just having trouble hearing at the NFL level. That's why the quarterback has the radio in his helmet to hear everything. And in this case, they have to spend a timeout.
You can have a wristband, and you can use color cards or hand signals. But in this case, and it's an important play for Carey here, to move the chains here and convert this 3rd down.
So ahead of a 3rd down and 6, with Carey using a timeout, and it feels like a critical set of downs. They went for it on 4th and short during the last series and turned it over at their own 34. And this time Kessler again changing the play call with DiNicola telling the receivers the situation. Kessler on the rollout is flushed, looking to the outside, and the throw takes his receiver out of bounds. Coppola on the coverage. It would have taken a tough throw for Nick Cowan to come in and haul in. They have taken him out of bounds anywhere.
Good pressure forces Kessler to go wide, and not enough space as the pass, even if it was caught, would have been out of bounds. Outstanding effort. And for the Seahawks, an obvious punting situation. So
a 3 and out ahead of a 4th and 6. And Carey has not been able to establish the running game. Pat McGrath already a couple of good punts with no return.
And you see the respect that Garden City has for the Carey punting game. They are deep, and this time a low liner.
And it'll eventually die inside the Garden City 35 at the 34. So the Trojans have been nearly perfect with under 5 minutes to go in this first half. And they're armed with a pair of timeouts. And so far probably just 2 negative plays that the Garden City offense has had in this first half. And Dave Enger knew we had some core guys back. And the question was how the rest of this team would take shape, namely the offensive line. That had about 8 different players start games this season. And many of them in their first seasons on the varsity.
Garden City's linemen on both sides of the ball, Ralph, are rangy, good speed, excellent technique, and the ability to win the one-on-one battles and stay on their blocks for a prolonged period of time has been crucial for their offensive success.
They'll consistently rotate players at the guard positions. This time they go again with a full house backfield. Yeboah Cody, and able to accelerate forward to pick up about 3. And everybody there a first-year starter. We've seen the versatility they have with Christian Sullivan going from right tackle to fullback in some power looks. And they keep cycling them through, but it appears like it's a much improved line than the Week 4 game we did.
Excellent point, Ralph. And also when you look at the skill set that the linemen have, the pass protection, the ability to go wide, to be able to pull, trap, they have the entire package going, and that's why the offense is clicking.
This time a double tight end set. Coppola the deep back. And the toss, it's off of his hands. A chance for Carey. And Coppola fell on it. He recovers, and losing it, he's able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Smooth exchange, but he never, as we see in the replay, able to fully control the toss, but fighting at the bottom of the pile and able to come up with it keeps the possession Garden City's way. And a short field for Carey, not only the ability to score route, but also as a momentum changer. The ball takes funny bounces on grass or on field turf.
A 3rd and 7. Can Carey get off the field? A play fake by Hart. Looking out to the flat, he's got a receiver wide open for the first down. The catch made by Holden Overbeck, the tight end. He is into Carey territory.
Yeboah Cody, Coppola, and Hart, such dangerous threats to run. This is a full house backfield double tight end. A perfect strike. Overbeck secures the catch and converts the 3rd down opportunity.
Holden Overbeck, he is the backup quarterback, and he'll be the starter next year with Hart graduating. He plays a lot of different roles for this team. H-back, wide receiver, some tight end. Stepped up big, particularly when Danny Bacafola missed a couple of games with an ankle injury. Direct snap to Yeboah Cody. Again turning the corner, picking up the first down. Breaking a tackle, he is inside the 20.
The Wildcat is a good change, but when you put Yeboah Cody back there, you put tremendous pressure on the defense. Colin Hart is a gifted runner, but this is a straight run. He's able to get wide, and then one simple move on the cutback. Great hustle by Carey on the backside by Mark Spano, captain for the Seahawks, but the range of weapons and the ability, he's averaging 13 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns, including the big 62-yard run.
And that averages what he's averaged this season, a shade over 13. That one went for 30 yards as he is split out to the left. Now Coppola, this time handling the toss. Bacafola leading the way as he tries to get to the sticks, and he's going to have a nice gain on first down.
Carey continues to do an effective job stringing the play out, and with the exception of when Yeboah Cody was able to pivot and go all the way across the field. So let's see if they can turn this positive play for the defensive point of view, a loss, pushing it to a 2nd and 11. The play action pass is so effective when you have a triple threat running game.
Hart now remaining as receiver. Yeboah Cody's going to throw it for the first time, or at least look to. It wasn't open, so he will take it right around to the line of scrimmage. Good coverage by Carey, and Andre Blanc again is able to make the stop.
Carey's defensive lineman, Ralph, as we see on our replay, jamming the line of scrimmage, rotating up outside in as Yeboah Cody turns it up. And still 3rd down and 11. Do you blitz here, Ralph? Do you shoot the gaps and try to bring the pressure?
And Andre Blanc would be that guy. Off a remarkable performance against MacArthur. Multi-sack games a couple times this season. And Garden City is going to ponder that thought. They'll take a timeout. They're 2nd ahead of a 3rd and 11. Ahead of a 3rd and 11. We also say hello to Steve Fennell, the longtime Garden City offensive or defensive coordinator on the football team. But during the springtime, he is a county championship boys lacrosse coach, as Garden City once again had a successful season. And the multi-sport athletes that are here, he and Dave Ettinger, who's been the varsity lacrosse assistant under Steve Fennell for many years recently. So it's all under one umbrella. And movement up front. And we'll see what Bob Miller tells us, but having all these athletes under one umbrella also seems to ingrain the same kind of winning DNA. These are football players primarily from August through November. That's it. The rest of the time, they're playing other sports, mainly lacrosse.
You avoid repetitive use injuries. You avoid that stagnation that can occur if you're just playing the same sport and doing the same thing over and over again. And it allows both coaches to keep their finger on the pulse in the school. Just knowing that there's a continuity of instruction and the philosophy between the programs. And it's so important for student athletes to participate in more than one sport.
It was a false start against Garden City. And the Trojans' 2nd penalty, so that'll back them up to a 3rd and 16.
Carey with 3 hands down, not showing blitz.
Hart from the shotgun. And it looks like he's going to keep it and run, looking for the kick out. He gets to the outside, now throws, and just short of his intended target. He had Holden over back in the flat and almost made a terrific play.
When you can disrupt the timing and the rhythm of the play, Carey able to get some pressure, force Hart to go to his left as a right-handed quarterback. More problematic to make a good throw. And the little stutter step, but good pressure. And right there, don't throw the block. Yeboah Cody showing his football IQ. If you can't get your head in front, or it's going to be a clip or a block behind the back. So for Carey right now, Ralph, a must stop on 4th and 16.
And this would appear to be within Chase Gardy's range, but Dave Ettinger would prefer to go for it. Or maybe not. Timeout is taken now by Garden City. Garden City has used all 3 of this first half, and Yeboah Cody joining Hart in the backfield ahead of a 4th and 16. They're trying to put a capper on the first half.
Coppola comes and sets alongside Yeboah Cody, straight drop back.
He looks down the middle of the field, and the pass will be brought in and caught by Scatterigia for the touchdown on 4th and 16. Hart able to throw a rope between a pair of defenders.
They slide Coppola in and leave both backs into block to give him time. Just a 3-set drop, and then he knows he's looking all the way, put it in the perfect location. The safety unable to close down on the play. And Garden City, we've talked about the possibility of a field goal, but they're able to convert the 4th and 16.
Gardy makes it 30-0 Trojans. They have scored on all 5 of their possessions.
Credit the offensive line again. Look at the individual battles they win. And a perfect strike. That is a big-time throw for a high school quarterback.
Joe Scatterigio hauls in his 2nd receiving touchdown of the year. And 10th catch, a verbal commitment to Bucknell for lacrosse. The senior comes up with it in traffic. What a throw by Colin Hart.
Big time route. It was only a 3-receiver route, Ralph. They had maximum pass protection. Carey in the right spots, but a perfect strike.
On 4th and 16. Patrick McGrath still on his feet, and McGrath will get across the 40. And that's where Carey will begin. And perhaps a shocked Seahawks team on that sideline, particularly after all the confidence they took from their Week 4 battle. And while it was a 38-14 final, but it was a close game. It was 17-14 midway through the 3rd quarter before Garden City hit on a couple of big plays. A Justin Coppola screen pass for a touchdown, a Yeboah Cody long touchdown run. Before that, he was shut down. And then a Colin Hart pass from Yeboah Cody on, I think it was a 3rd and 18 that made it a 4th and manageable. And that's how close that game was relative to the score.
As impressive as Garden City has been offensively with 30 first-half points, Carey still looking for their first down of the game, and that has resulted in a massive difference in time of possession. Straight, catch the difficult, snap to handle above the ankles, and the pass goes incomplete. So quickly you're in that 2nd and 10 situation. Garden City with 2 hands down and a standing defensive end. And when we look at Garden City, the prototype player, Christian Sullivan, number 55, 2-way starter, we see him at the top of the screen. He is a presence.
Kessler fires right, and it's knocked away. Coppola able to step in front of Riley DeMeo.
Coppola showing his quickness and anticipation to break on the ball when the ball's in flight, and he's going right there for the interception, but at least a deflection. Just well-coached. Steve Fennell does an outstanding job with the Garden City defense. And reminder, Ralph, the depth, the reps in practice, the quality of this program allows them to work hard. The bench is a great motivator. You can't be resting on your laurels here if you're playing for Garden City.
McGrath dropping the crossing pattern. It would have been close to a first down if he was able to accelerate, but it'll be 4th and 10. And Carey, no choice, they're going to send the punt team out. They will receive the opening kickoff of the 2nd half.
A frustrating series of downs. They're going with the aerial attack. They've done an excellent job in the punting game, and Garden City will get the ball back. Keep in mind, though, the Trojans have used all 3 of their timeouts already.
And there won't be a chance for Coppola or Yeboah Cody. It's down to the 41 with under a minute to go in an impressive opening half for top-seeded Garden City, looking to add another county championship to their remarkable history. And close the book on Nassau County play for Trevor Yeboah Cody before he goes on to play lacrosse at Brown. He has a pair of rushing touchdowns. Colin Hart has one. Joe Scatterigio with a receiving touchdown.
Brown lacrosse coach Mike Daly, who won multiple national championships while at Division III Tufts, should be very careful that the Brown football staff doesn't come out in the springtime and decide to wine and dine Trevor Yeboah Cody. It's very difficult to be a 2-sport athlete in college, but it still is done.
Yeah, he had all those opportunities as Garden City takes a knee here. As Trevor said, I really like football. It's fun, but just likes lacrosse and the creativity of the game a little bit better. So as he heads into should Garden City advance the final football games scheduled to be in his career. I'm sure that urgency is on his mind. An impressive opening half for Garden City. They do not allow a first down to Carey. They get 204 yards on the ground, and they score on all 5 possessions. Garden City is halfway to their 3rd consecutive county crown. They lead Carey 30-0 at the half. We're coming back to show you some first half highlights and statistics. You're watching the Nassau Conference 2 final on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. Garden City put together a near-perfect first half in this Nassau County Conference 2 championship game over 2-seeded Carey, leading 30-0. Ralph Bednarczyk with Rich Donovan. They've scored on all 5 of their possessions. Let's show you just some of the highlights how they accomplished this.
Against a quality opponent, the Trojans appear effortless as we see Hart rolling out to Bacafola. The 29-yard run sets up 1st and goal, and Trevor Yaboa-Cody out of the Wildcat, escorted by Sullivan and Coppola, just tiptoes into the end zone. Here, the naked bootleg Colin Hart able to race the corner and go in untouched. He's had a terrific first half running the show. Again, Yaboa-Cody, after the turnover, able to go 62 yards. And Ralph, this is all about staying on your blocks, the lineman creating that lane. Not many backs on Long Island can make a run like that. And on 4th and 16, Hart, a perfect strike to Scattereggia, and that put it to a 30-0 halftime lead.
The Scattereggia touchdown catch came on 4th and 16. Carey will receive the ball to open up the 3rd quarter. And looking for their first down of the night. Riley DeMeo from his own 15. And is able to bounce it to the outside before he is dropped. Another good open field tackle made by Garden City on special teams. And Will Puccio, lacrosse midfielder, on the stop. So here are the Carey Seahawks, Rich. Well, if you're Mike Stanley, you do not expect to be in this kind of a hole. What do you think his message was to his team at the half?
Keep playing hard. They've done some good things, but they have to start moving the chains on offense. And for Garden City, there's such a versatile team on both sides of the ball and the athleticism. If you Carey, you've got to decide, we can't really run wide, so we either need to pound it inside or throw it.
The start on the ground, Jason Kessler. Tough run as he is able to take it up into Yaboa-Cody near a 1st down, and that might be the new wrinkle that they show. Kessler has not run it a whole lot because he is such an adept trigger man. He does not have a rushing touchdown despite Carey's offense averaging 26 points per game, and in some ways he hasn't had to with the multitude of diverse weapons that Carey has had.
That would be the definition of the power running game. Their first down, and it happened on 1st down. So try to get some momentum established. They've gone vertical.
And looking long, just out of the reach of Nick Cowan in the slot.
He looks good throwing the ball vertical. He had good pass protection. He sets. They win the one-on-one battles, and we see the pancake block as Garden City trying to rush from the outside. But if you looked at the opening kick return, Ralph, Carey ran the middle wedge very effective, and then versus the bounce, though, Puccio is right there to contain. So the superior coaching on both sides of the field that we see tonight, but for Garden City, they're able to do it because it's an 11-man gang.
Kessler keeps it again, so this wrinkle that may be established with Steven Moscatello wearing that number 77 uniform that is given every year in honor of Paul Ekna, the late Paul Ekna. It goes to the most deserving senior lineman. Mr. Ekna died on 9/11 at the age of 28. He was a bond trader at Cantor Fitzgerald. It goes to the player that displays great character in the senior class among linemen. 3rd and 6, and the ball through the hands there of Cowan. That would have been enough for a 1st down.
An example of trying to run with it before you catch it. And we have to remember they're high school student athletes. I was really impressed, Ralph, in the pregame, looking at both teams warm up. Kessler right over the top, a strong throw. Those are the plays that you need to make. But in the pregame, looking at both coaching staffs, the way they were working with their student athletes, in addition to the head coaches, Mike Stanley and Dave Ettinger, Mike Sellen, Paul Luzzi, Frank Sonnenberg, Mike Soto, and Anthony Turco for Carey, along with Tom Aiello. And when you look over the course of the season, practice starting in mid-August, going through a grueling preseason, the 8-game regular season, and this is round 3 of the playoffs. Both these teams have improved significantly, and that's a result of hard work and excellent coaching.
Mike Stanley's been at this now in his 12th season, and while the numbers have been just a touch low, but Tom Aiello being his lacrosse coach, that everybody's in the same building, which he says is a significant deal, keeps everybody engaged in the program, and a football community that has developed here over the last decade, capped off by those great back-to-back teams winning the Long Island Class II championships in 13 and 14, defeating Garden City during that time too, and superior teams with quarterback Ray Catapano bringing home the Thorpe Award as the Nassau County Player of the Year.
Our Section 8 football coordinator, Matt McLeese, was the former head coach at Carey and passed it on to Mike Stanley.
Trevor Yaboa-Cody, and he's going to pick up a first down on the first play of the third quarter. Yaboa-Cody, 11 carries for 130 yards and the 2 touchdowns in the first half, including 2 touchdowns that he scored untouched.
When you run a double tight end set with a power backfield, 3 backs in addition to the quarterback, it would appear to be difficult to run outside. But when they run the toss, Yaboa-Cody's speed and the ability of the offensive lineman to make a hit and then slide upfield and make a second contact really keys the success of that effort.
Yaboa-Cody, and he'll find about 4 more yards. Yaboa-Cody is also split outside frequently, with Colin Hart delivering 6 of 9 in the air for 98 yards.
We talked about multi-sport athletes during the first half. Being here at Hofstra Stadium, Rudy Fioravanti, an outstanding athlete at Massapequa, was a 3-sport athlete here at Hofstra: football, wrestling, and lacrosse. The weight room is dedicated to him.
Coppola on the jet sweep. And Coppola's going to lose a couple. Good pursuit by Carey. And it'll be 3rd down and 8. These two programs in the last decade, with the rise of the Carey program, it's become a rivalry, including splitting 10 meetings from the peak of the Carey football dynasty during that time from 2010 to 14. And they've met in this championship game 7 of the last 9 years. 2 years ago, it was a commanding 42-14 win by Garden City, but Carey won both the regular season meeting and the county final in those 2013-14 great teams.
And with 3 rounds of the playoffs within each conference now, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, lots of repeat matchups. Again, the naked bootleg wide open.
Colin Hart on 3rd and 9 does it again. And his running has made a real difference. Not so much the volume of yardage, but the timing of it.
And when we see on the replay, all 3 backs go to the left. So you have to pursue, and in this case, over pursue. But if you're the weak side defender, Ralph, you have to stay home. Don't go chasing across the field. Stay home that's the equivalent of a reverse coming back the other way. And Colin Hart, not a passing threat right there. He was running it all the way.
He picks up 14. Dave Ettinger commenting, even going back to last year, that nothing rattles his cage. He goes 6'1", 175. Been a starter since the back half of his freshman year on the lacrosse team as a shutdown close defenseman. They keep it up the middle on the sneak on 1st and 10. And Hart will get a lot of yards there, picking up 5. And this year, throwing the ball a lot better, especially with teams loading up the box against Trevor Yeboah-Cody. And that's what's made this Garden City team fascinating. Last year they did it with Yeboah-Cody in against quality competition, 20 carries a game. This year they've been able to show the passing element as well as Hart's better running.
Normally, Ralph, defensively, if you take away something, it forces the offense to do something they don't want to do. When you play Garden City, they're very confident and comfortable with going to, I won't even call it a second or third option. They're all equally potent in terms of the success. So Yeboah-Cody's runs to the outside, then you have Hart bootleg the other way, you have the jet sweep to Coppola, you have the vertical passing game. So it's very, very difficult to defend the team, and they don't commit penalties or turn it over.
Coppola just took the jet sweep down to the Carey 35 for another first down. That's now 17 first downs for Garden City tonight. Yeboah-Cody, and again reversing direction and trying to get to the outside, and he is going to pick up a very modest gain. Now, he seems to love to do that, and it's almost as if the flow is designed to allow him to go that way, particularly with the wider field at Hofstra.
An additional point, as we see on the replay here, he's fully committed to go right, but not many players can do this. And you're looking at somebody who can turn it upfield, and if you give him a seam, could go all the way.
It's a lot of running for a 2-yard pickup, and Mark Spano eventually bumped him out again for the Carey Seahawks.
Let's credit the offensive line of Garden City. They have been dominant tonight.
Hart, a throwback pass, and it was well short. He had a man wide open holding Overbeck, and Overbeck might be running into the end zone, and Hart faced a little pressure.
Hart rolls to his right as we get an additional view. Coppola with the block up front, and Overbeck a little bit deeper than Hart thought, and again an example of throwing it off your back foot. So not the smooth execution that we've seen, and it does create a third down, but Garden City, by driving the ball earlier in this possession, are looking at 2 downs for 8 yards. Carey continues to play hard. They'll compete the full 48 minutes. You wouldn't know they were down 30-zip at this point, the way they're playing hard.
Yeboah-Cody darts inside of one would-be tackler as Devin Hart's eventually finished him off. He gets down inside the 25. That's enough for another first down.
Let's take a look at the blocking, the consistency, staying on the block. And it's difficult here not to grab cloth and draw a holding penalty, but you see everybody with the maroon jersey is fully engaged until he goes out of bounds. Block through the whistle. Keep your head going downfield. And when you have a runner like number 24 with his terrific field vision, he'll cut off of your block. Let him get to open space and good things will happen.
Yeboah-Cody and back up the middle, and he's going to pick up close to another first down, might be just shy. That's going to take him to around 165 yards. In last year's county final, Yeboah-Cody went for 3 rushing touchdowns and 203 yards against Mepham in a shutout win.
The straight handoff, and on our replay we see everybody contributes. That time Bocafola, one of the 2 Garden City captains, able to lead the play through. And the drive blocking at the second level has been outstanding tonight.
It is a first down, and from the 14, Coppola could not haul in the pass from Hart.
An attempt at a bubble pass, and the spacing wasn't what the play was designed to do. So Coppola would have had to go too far upfield. You run the risk when you throw that type of pass that if it's not forward, Ralph, a lateral, it's not an incomplete pass, it's actually a fumble.
Dave Ettinger's team clearly has put everything together. It all started in August. They spend every summer about 5 days at football camp in Torrington, Connecticut, doing 3 sessions a day. Hard on 2nd and 10 underneath, and he's got Bocafola. Bocafola forces his way into the end zone. Bacafola would not go down on first contact. That's a 14-yard connection, and Garden City has yet to be stopped.
We have seen the bootleg run and the bootleg pass by number 14, Colin Hawk, run to perfection. And this time, draw the defense, a little toss into the flat, and Bacafola able to use his forearm and shoulder to cross the goal line. Too many weapons and outstanding execution by the Trojans on offense.
Second receiving touchdown of the season for senior Danny Bacafola. Chase Garney makes it 37-0. Garden City, the only question is, will they have back-to-back shutouts in a county final? All Trojans here, 37-0 on Verizon, Fios One Sports. A remarkable 37-0 lead for top seed and undefeated Garden City, winners of 34 consecutive games. They have bested their own program record, which was 30. The Nassau record that they've already obliterated, which was 32 by Bethpage, set back from 93 to 95, as they get immediately on to Riley DeMeo with more good special teams work. That time, Lucas Feingold, backup guard and defensive lineman on the hit. And during the course of this streak, they have had very little games where they've had a flat effort or even a flat quarter. And that's what makes it quite remarkable for Dave Ettinger's team, particularly with the class that they just graduated that did put together the back-to-back seasons. This is kind of almost a, in terms of starters, they only brought back one starter on defense.
Ralph, when you create a winning culture like this, the push comes from underneath. You have 10th and 11th graders battling for playing time, and that makes everybody better in practice.
Pass up top from Kessler looking for DeMeo. As DeMeo went up for the jump ball, Joe Scatarigia had the coverage.
When we're talking, we talk, Ralph, about first-year starters, but when you look at what has gone on in practice in the previous year, they're ready to step up and assume those positions right away. And if you do earn a starting position, you cannot sit back and put it on cruise control because the level of competition is there every day in practice. So there is a situation where they brought back players who may not have been frontline players, but they certainly were ready to step up, and during the course of the season have shown tremendous improvement.
Up the middle, this looks like it's Anthony DiNicola as he smashes forward, and DiNicola with a good push from the Carey offensive line, and that looks like it's going to be enough for Carey's second first down.
Great job by the offensive line. You defined it, Ralph. This is pushing the pile forward, get the back behind there, create some positive yardage. And for Carey, there has been no diminished enthusiasm from the coaching staff or from the players. People coming into this game, perhaps anticipating it would be lopsided, but you have to give Carey credit. They're playing to their potential. They're just matched against a far superior opponent tonight. And for Carey, when you look at 8-2 and reaching the county final, that is a tremendous feat.
That's Jason Kessler picking up the first down. And something for the Seahawks to take into next season, because they do have so much youth in key spots. DiNicola and Joe Todaro, both sophomores that have grown up a lot, one on each side of the ball. This is DiNicola, and he stopped near the line of scrimmage, and Carey would not be here without Anthony DiNicola's great second half against MacArthur, rushing for 88 of his 102 yards and both of his touchdowns, as MacArthur had that game in hand. Hugh Kelleher, the running back for MacArthur, was carrying them through the first half. He ended up with 199 yards and a touchdown. But DiNicola, Mike Stanley has been on him to be more productive, to try to take Carey to the next level, as that pass is deflected incomplete, and that's a big reason why Carey's here in the first place.
A defensive battle that was highlighted by tremendous physical play on both sides of the ball. And for Mike Stanley's Carey program, by advancing to the county championship week 11, you've had 3 weeks to work with your sophomores that you bring up from the JV, so they learn the system. They're here. You know, the first game they were at home, but then they get to play the semis and the finals here at Hofstra, and that is a positive for the 2019 team moving forward.
Kessler with a good pocket, wants another long one. Scatterigia again, the coverage on Riley DeMeo, incomplete. And Carey has tried to stretch the field, and they've had the targets, and Scatterigia again on the coverage.
Excellent pass protection, as we see on our replay, with the offensive lineman winning those one-on-one battles. And put it up there, give your receiver an opportunity to make a play. And that's exactly what Kessler did, as Carey brings the punting team on.
And Riley DeMeo, 7 receiving touchdowns this season, including 1 in the first half of the Week 4 game against Garden City from 63 yards. That was the first time all year Garden City had trailed in the game. As Coppola comes up with the fair catch off the kick from McGrath. With 4:52 still yet to play, and Garden City perhaps thinking about completing what might be a perfect game. Last year they took care of Mepham by a final score of 33-0, and Mepham was led by outstanding senior quarterback Michael Proyos, who went on to play in college. That was quite the talented Mepham team that Garden City was able to, especially on the ground, to pile up the yardage, led by Yeboah Cody going over 200.
You'll recall, Ralph, in that game, Mepham had some costly turnovers. Carey has not turned the ball over tonight and given Garden City a short field. The Trojans have been methodical. They have varied their play calling and used all their weapons with tremendous success. Carey packing the box here, anticipating the running game out of the power I set.
Hart still in the game, goes to Yeboah Cody, who's able to bounce it to the outside and spins away from Jack alone to take it out to midfield.
An example of how a double tight end power I running set can result in the bounce. As you see, the great seam created by the offensive lineman up front, and you've got a breakdown. We talked about swarming, gang tackling being important for Carey, and very difficult to chase number 24. As we see Garden City substitute skill players here and create a whole new backfield. Hart remains a quarterback.
Yeboah Cody picks up 25. He's now at 190. So it appears like a cinch that he's going to surpass what he did in last year's county final. With a fresh set of downs, it's first down number 21. And this time there's a flag down. And on the toss, that's Pierce Archer, who is a sophomore. He's the number 3 running back. So his first carry. And Bob Miller will tell us this one appears like it's going against Garden City. Just the Trojans' 3rd penalty.
Again, the double tight end formation with the power I backfield. When you run the toss, Garden City looking to get to the 2nd level quickly. And Dave Ettinger, you wouldn't know by his intensity level that the game is 37-zip. He's playing it like it's 0-0 in sudden death overtime.
Yeah, he wants perfection. If you meet Dave Ettinger, it never sounds like that they're sitting comfortably, and that's what leads to greatness. And as he says, nobody believes us that we don't do football in the summer, but they have to with 3 sessions a day over a 5-day football camp period in Torrington. And that sets the stage of the season. Pacafola on 1st and 26 is able to cross the line of scrimmage.
Because the hold occurred deep in the backfield. That's why the length of the penalty really hurt. And for Carey right here, again, put some pressure on, shoot gaps, try to get the ball to the ground.
And that was Archer actually carrying. He'll be the future of the ground game and has played a lot of second halves this season, closing games out. Now pick up a 4. Archer on the toss. And he'll cross the 40-yard line And these Garden City players certainly, I think, have a sense of the history that they'll have a chance to make to go 3 Long Island championships in a row. They've already done that for the first time in program history in 16 and 17, but 3 in a row. That is uncharted territory. There's very few programs across any classification in Long Island high school football that have been able to achieve that. It's a small number.
To be excellent on a consistent basis, week in and week out, by the dominating scores that you referenced in our pregame show, Ralph, it's a compliment to the program and the commitment from their football and school community. Nice.
Archer, and he stood up right about the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 18. And we may get our first punt of the game.
Devin Hart's number 32 leading the charge for the Seahawks defensively. A holding penalty really set them back. Credit Carey's defense. And Mike Stanley will get a fresh set of play calls, assuming that the punt is handled cleanly. And Carey wants to get on the board here as we're approaching 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Good opportunity now. Both Dave Ettinger and Mike Stanley have tremendous respect for each other and the programs. And we'll be moving towards a point in the game, Ralph, where we'll see a lot of new faces in the game and well-deserved playing time for these student athletes. They may not be the frontline players, but their commitment is equal to none.
Danny Bacafola for the first time in punt formation.
Carey showing block. They come hard.
And this one off the side of the foot of Bacafola, so Carey is going to get some great field position to try to spoil the shutouts. So I think it's comfortable enough that you can copy and paste Garden City for 2018 to add yet another one. And it would be back-to-back shutouts if this score holds up.
Jay Hegai with Elmont in 2008. Mike Stanley with Carey in 2013 and 14. Bobby Ferenbach, traditionally a powerhouse at MacArthur in 2015. But it looks like Garden City will be going for the hat trick, 3 consecutive. And that will be an impressive feat. It will give them 7 of the last 11.
This will be number 23 in program history. Garden City has won the most playoff games than any school in Nassau County. They've had that healthy lead and have won the Rutgers Cup 6 times. That's the trophy given out to the best overall team in Nassau County, regardless of classification. Conferences 1, 2, 3, and 4. As Patrick McGrath is stopped, as Garden City gets on him with Ford Carney making the defensive play. And as the history is so remarkable, you think about the times that they do have a down year. Only one time has Garden City not made the playoffs in the 2000s. That was 2002. And it doesn't appear to be slowing down anytime soon. And since 1981, 31 times they've been in the county finals out of 37 through last year.
Carey with a spread offense, twins to both sides.
This is Stein on the catch from Kessler. And that'll be short of the first down. James Stein.
Carey right now, Ralph, play loose. Throw it up the field. Try to get the big play. Kessler's been impressive. He's gone vertical several times and just missed. So they still have the deep threat capability.
That's going to take care of the 3rd quarter. Carey will have a 3rd and 4 coming up to try to spoil the Garden City shutouts. All Trojans tonight at Hofstra on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. Garden City scored on their first 6 possessions before being forced to punt late in that 3rd quarter. And they have a commanding 37-0 lead, as they are just 12 minutes away from sewing up the program's 23rd county championship, 3rd in a row. And they'll have a chance to pursue and add to this particular era's great dynasty of 3 consecutive Long Island championships, which has never been done. And on 3rd and 4, and that is Cowan, the slot receiver, on the handoff to move the change for the Seahawks on the opening play of the 4th. And for these Trojans, it's so remarkable that no one on this 2018 roster has ever lost a game on the varsity or the JV. Last year's team had a couple of players that had a loss, or at least were on the sidelines during the 2015 Conference 2 semifinal loss to Wantagh. Garden City's last loss. As this is Jack Alone as he gets near the 30-yard line. So that in itself is remarkable when you see nobody has ever experienced that. And how will the Trojans react should they get to the Long Island Class 2 final against either West Islip or Lindenhurst and be in a competitive game in the 4th quarter where it's one possession? They haven't experienced that. Is that a point of concern?
I'm sure that in practice they go over those situations, short time, the game is tied, goal line defense, goal line offense, and the coaching staff is very well prepared. But it does create a new situation, Ralph, and the JV program is designed to prep you for the varsity, and when players have shown the ability to play at the next level, Garden City will bring them up. So there's a sprinkling of sophomores on this team, and they play. There's different philosophies. Do you bring players up if they're going to sit on a bench, or do you only bring them up if they're going to get quality reps? But remember, in practice, they'll get quality repetitions. As we see on a replay, the 2 power backs leading. Nice job reading the block, getting outside, and Carey demonstrating the ability for their wide receivers to downfield block.
That's Riley DeMeo on the jet sweep to pick up the first down. Riley, the last of 4 brothers. And we'll talk more about that. He's been a 2-year starter, one of the top wide receivers in Nassau County that has not had a catch yet. This is Nick Jackalone trying to get to the outside, and he is cut down by Garden City and John Morris. Jackalone getting about 4 yards on the play, and this is what's remarkable about high school sports, where you have a decade represented by one family, and this will be it for the DeMeos, as Riley DeMeo is the 4th of 4 brothers dating back to now 8 years ago. 2017 class, Tyler DeMeo was a 2nd-team All-Long Island wide receiver, and they've all been multi-sport athletes too. Here's Riley DeMeo, wide receiver screen. And he's able to pick up just a couple. It started with Kyle DeMeo, who was more of a baseball kid, went on to Dowling before Dylan took over. Terrific wide receiver. Then Tyler and Riley. The last 3 brothers almost identical in the style of play. As Mike Stanley says, absolutely all tough as nails. Very good on screens. Basketball kids too, and you see all their honors, and Riley is going to add, I would imagine, at the minimum, all-county to his great year. He's caught 7 touchdowns this season, 512 yards. As he gets it up the middle, again on the jet sweep to pick up 5.
If you're going to defeat Garden City in football, I believe you need to defeat the entire program. You're not going to just show up one Saturday afternoon and throw your helmets on the field and win. It requires a tremendous off-season commitment, preparation, and execution, but also the depth of the program, Ralph. You need to have athletes that are multi-sport athletes, but can really put their foot forward in the fall. And that's what has made this program so successful under Dave Ettinger and previously Tom Flatley.
And they need more DeMeos. And to the outside. And it will be enough for the touchdown. Nick Jackalone with that last effort got across the goal line, and Carey has spoiled the shutout. That's a 6-yard run on the jet sweep.
The touchdown scored by Jackalone, but Riley DeMeo instrumental on the drive. And when you look at, as we said, Ralph, over a decade of action, look at Jackalone's second effort here as he piles over the goal line. But you can be sure there was some battle royales in the backyard of the DeMeo household over the years, and each player wanting to be better than his older brother.
Riley is also The kicker for Carey, he puts it through. 37-7. Senior Nick Giacalone in his final game of football. What a career he has had as a 2-year starter, but it's all Trojans at Hofstra. Carey spoils the shutout bid by Garden City, trying to make it back-to-back from that perspective. As Patrick McGrath on the kickoff, and it's a short one. Picked up at about the 30-yard line. And is returned by backup running back Michael DeLuca that we might see here in the fourth quarter.
We've seen substituting on both sides. Ralph, when you talk to coaches, not only for their own sons, but also when you have a tradition like the DeMeo family, you can bet that when you look at the sideline and the water boy and the managers and the statisticians, when your older brother's playing football, it's great because you get to hang out with the team, be in the locker room, ride the bus, and you aspire to be that next player in the program. And that's how the tradition of these schools, such as Garden City and Carey, continue to flourish. So for Carey right now, an opportunity to get some second-line defensive players in the game. And for Garden City, a look at the 2019 offense.
Yep, Colin Hart is finished. And we're going to see Gavin Paskowitz. He and Holden Overbeck are both the backup quarterbacks. It'll be a good battle into next season, but they'll think about that in about a week. As Gavin Paskowitz, 6 foot, 160-pound junior, as he hands it off on the ground. As James Crowley carries for the first time.
Many times, Ralph, those decisions are made by the ability of one of the two players to play another position. And we've seen Overbeck be very effective as a receiver and a downfield blocker. So when you have a good athlete, you want to play him at quarterback, but sometimes you'll move the other player to a position where he can benefit the team. And players are always unselfish. They want to do what's best for the team, and that's what builds your team and your program.
It may be the most subtle change that Dave Ettinger made. He had to find linemen in the early season. As we're going to look at this 2nd and 9. Toss by Paskowitz. And Crowley will take it into Carey territory for another first down. They were looking for linemen, as we said, graduating all 5 starters, and they've used as many as about 8 consistently on the offensive line. But the big one was Christian Sullivan, that we've referenced a couple times, big number 55. Sullivan played a little bit of guard last year. They wanted him to be a tight end, but he had to raise his hand and become a tackle. He's been the starting right tackle on the JV 2 years ago, was a fullback and running back. But with all the running backs they have, someone had to make the move. And Sullivan did, and he has become a dynamite player at that position, and occasionally using him as a blocking back in the backfield.
On the previous replay, we saw number 35, Michael DeLuca, and on this play as well, you have to be a good blocker before you can be a good ball carrier. And the ability to block for each other is so important.
And it looks like most of the second unit offensive line has also come out here for this series. Garden City led this game 20-0 at the end of the first quarter. They were held to a field goal following a short field, getting a 4th down stop at the Carey 34. Chase Gardy would add a 27-yarder, and then a real momentum, or a deflator of momentum in this game, was a 23-yard catch by Joe Scatterigia for a touchdown on a 4th and 16 in the final minute of the opening half. That made the score 30-0 at the break. Even at 23-0, Carey still within 3 scores. You can make the argument there's enough time, but particularly that kind of play is going to be maybe the most memorable one from tonight.
Carey doing a nice job stringing it out, but again, the speed factor.
This is Crowley turning the corner, and James Crowley adds another rushing touchdown for Garden City. This one from 40 yards, and the Trojans have put up 43 points in the county final.
Ralph, what started out as a positive was we see Carey with some penetration. They string the play out, but look at the cut off the left leg to drive, and then the ability to sprint. acceleration, and I believe that happens in practice at Garden City, and therefore you see the opportunity where this is my turn, and James Crowley is able to get into the end zone.
Three different players with rushing touchdowns. Chase Gardy, though, missing the point after.
You've seen some low-line drives from Gardy tonight, but the toss has been so effective, and the kick out, and again, you have to defend the outside of the field, but Garden City with a multiple number of running backs that can sprint to the end zone.
Well, this crowd has seen Garden City, despite the frigid temperatures, not be bothered at all. 43-7 as DeMeo on another return, and this time up the middle. Riley DeMeo. One man to beat, it's Gardy. Riley DeMeo is going to take it the distance. 81 yards. And the last DeMeo has his moment. 43-13.
Ralph, the middle wedge is not designed to be a touchdown breaker, but it is perfect execution by the initial wall of blockers, and the wow factor from Riley DeMeo on the open field speed. And sometimes when the ball bounces, Ralph, it changes the timing as the kickoff team runs down the field to stay in their lanes, and he just found the seam, and once he's going to score this touchdown, even if it was a 200-yard field, nobody's going to catch him. So a fitting end to an outstanding career for Riley DeMeo.
And he has done it all in his career. This year he has 2 blocked punts against Elmont and Mepham. He's about to handle the point after here in this case, and has done a lot more running this season on jet sweeps. Came in with 8 carries, and now his first career kickoff return for a touchdown.
And he'll be kicking this with a tired leg.
McGrath to hold. And DeMeo hitting the left upright. You're right, he probably was a little bit gassed after that. 43-13 as DeMeo's remarkable career comes to an end. I'm sure we'll see him during varsity basketball season.
The rule for the kickoff team is break down, stay in your lanes, find the ball, but Garden City does not adjust on their angles of pursuit, and there's no substitute for speed, and Riley DeMeo certainly has it.
So Carey with a couple of touchdowns here in the fourth quarter, and I'm sure Dave Ettinger is going to mention the kickoff return this week in practice. That's the kind of program that, and the kind of mentality that Garden City has had that's led to these championships, as Crowley has the run back. And the Garden City offense will get going to work. And how about the career of Devin Hartridge? He was so impressive in that Week 4 game. He has FCS level programs looking at him, a 3-year starter at linebacker, first this year at inside linebacker, and just a tone setter for all the success that Carey has had.
I have to recheck the roster each time we broadcast Carey and verify that he's 5'8", 165, because he plays big, Ralph. He hits like a ton of bricks. He's a key defender for them in their scheme, allowing other players to do things because he can do multiple things on the defensive side of the ball.
And he's listed, Rich, 5'8", 165, and as Mike Stanley has said, he's had great linebackers in his program. Connor Conosordo was a little bit bigger than Hart's, but if he had a bigger body, you're looking at even the next level, a full scholarship level player.
Again, the ability to turn the outside and sweep. We were talking before about how players will volunteer to move from the backfield to the line or from the line to the backfield. I recall coaching against Mepham with Amos Zeraway, a 2-time Thorpe Award winner. And in those years, Mepham needed to move a lineman to quarterback. They needed a quarterback. And just a smooth transition, and certainly I would have volunteered for the job because I got to hand the ball off to Famous Amos, but those are the types of sacrifices that student athletes will make so that their team can move forward. And also we're looking at multi-sport athletes, but two-way players, offense and defense, and special teams. So an exhausting evening tonight if you're playing on both sides of the ball. But hats off to Carey on their outstanding season, and we'll finish at 8-3.
Michael DeLuca had the last carry for Garden City. And again, this will be DeLuca that is spun around and dropped after a short pickup. Hartz and Jackalone among those seniors. They'll be finished. Patrick McGrath, key players for Carey, to have to replace it to next season. And Milione and others, Andre Blanc on the line. Dave Ettinger, he's got the headset off. And just a matter of a first down or so for Garden City before they start to think about their matchup against either West Islip or Lindenhurst. This is DeLuca. And West Islip, similar to Garden City, with a lot of strong athletes. They've got a great linebacker. Lindenhurst, it's not the same team from last year. And they had one of the most iconic Long Island football players I think we'll ever have in Jeremy Ruckerts, who went on and is playing at Ohio State. Rucker graduates and Lindenhurst's enrollment drops. They move down to Conference 2, and they have that championship experience. So Garden City's going to face a team that has a similar kind of a DNA, at least in the short term, with Lindenhurst. And West Islip having success in lacrosse and football recently too. Not to the same Garden City level, but a similar kind of a DNA.
And the enrollments in Conference 2 in Suffolk are higher than Nassau, so West Islip does have a lot of depth and a large pool of athletes to draw from. And when you put Trevor Yeboah Cody in the discussion as one of the top running backs in Nassau County of all time, Amos Zeroway was a different type of runner, Ralph. I remember seeing him as a freshman, and he went on to a great career at West Virginia with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL, but we talked about you couldn't knock him off his pins, his lower body strength, but he did not have the deceptive speed and the breakaway speed that Yeboah Cody has. Don't discount the fact that he may be running for the Brown Bruins up in Rhode Island in the near future. So the lacrosse sounds great, and it's probably more fun in terms of the drudgery of football practice compared to lacrosse, which is just a full field game, and you can practice that way. But both Colin Hart and Trevor Yeboah Cody going to Brown University to play lacrosse, that's a win-win for Mike Daly and his program.
You just saw Steve Fennell get the ice-cold water bath here at Hofstra. And it is cold on the field today. Fortunately, it's not as windy. The temperature's hovering around 40 and dropping, as there's another first down run for Garden City and James Crowley. And I think this one is ticketed for Dave Ettinger. Someone put away his cell phone. And they're taking the long route here.
This is good strategy on the sneak attack. Reverse and come back.
Well, they got him. That's a good job by the entire sideline, with very good blocking and leading that deception. Congratulations to Coach Ettinger, winning his third consecutive county title, as we're inside the final minute. And the Garden City faithful that are celebrating now through this freezing evening tonight at Hofstra. They saw their team come out and score on their first 5 possessions and never look back, and never even give Carey just the element that they were going to make any mistakes tonight. Paskowitz takes a knee. That's it. Garden City celebrates their third consecutive Conference 2 championship tonight at Hofstra with an impressive 43-13 victory over rival Carey. Garden City is going back to the Long Island Class 2 championship game, trying to add to their program's history by winning an unprecedented third consecutive Long Island championship. We're back with a post-game reaction from the field and the wrap-up on Verizon Fios One Sports. Garden City's remarkable run as a program continues with its 3rd consecutive county championship and 35th win in a row dating back to November of 2015. A commanding victory over Carey tonight in the Conference 2 final. Trevor Yaboa-Cody was among the stars. He is on the field with Rich Donovan.
The big games are for the big-time players, and Trevor Yaboa-Cody leading Garden City to their 3rd consecutive Conference 2 championship, 35th win in a row. Trevor, after the regular season game where Carey was battling through the first 3 quarters, what was the mindset of the Trojans coming into today?
Well, we had a nice couple extra days to prepare with the weather, so our coaches did a hell of a job. They're really good, and they're just fantastic. And we got a bunch of boys like. These kids, they're just everyone bought in, and everyone was just flying around, and we got it done.
A couple of great examples of changing direction and reversing the field, but you need outstanding offensive line play to stay on your blocks for those long runs. How about those guys up front?
Yeah, shout out to them. We started the week in the offensive line at first, but they kept building and building up. I got to shout out my man Connor Gunn and Matt McGovern. They do an awesome job.
And for you and Colin Hart, looking forward to a tremendous collegiate career playing lacrosse at Brown University for Mike Daly, but some unfinished business in the Long Island Championship coming up.
Yeah, we're just going to keep taking one day at a time from now on and see who we play next.
Well, good luck. Congratulations to Dave Ettinger in the Garden City program. Back to you, Ralph.
And for Trevor Yaboa-Cody, that Long Island Championship is now slated to be his final football game. Unless, of course, something changes at Brown. Who knows? But one of the most iconic football players Nassau County has ever seen gets to play one more game here at Hofstra. 43-13 is the final. Yaboa-Cody runs for 190 yards and 2 scores, pacing the Trojans to their 3rd consecutive county title. That does it for our entire crew here from Shutout Stadium in Hofstra. This game is produced and directed by Frank Lasquadro, and for my partner Rich Donovan, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk saying so long and goodbye. From Hofstra, you've been watching the Nassau County Football Championships on Verizon Fios One Sports.
This has been a special presentation of Verizon Fios One Sports.